Angelo. I'm with Freedom Mobile Living. Today I want to kind of talk about an issue on how people have perception. And what I mean by that is most people think that people living in a vehicle or some mobile vehicle, the first thing they assume is that they're homeless. First thing they assume that they can't afford anything else, the sticks and bricks or anything else in their life. And that's furthest thing from the truth. The trouble with us as humans is that we judge people. We judge based on what we see. We judge people on how they live. And that's really an injustice to humanity. I started becoming a nomad, not homeless, a nomad, living in my vehicle because it's something I wanted to do. It was something that I wanted to do to give me the ability to travel across the country, visit different cities and different sites, and meet different people. One thing I'm really intrigued by is homelessness. In all my life, I've never seen homelessness go to such a degree as it has now. And normally that happened because of the high rents that are out there, that landlords are just gouging people by charging higher rents. It reminds me of the banking industry when they did the mortgage back in the 80s. But now what we're doing for people are finding themselves with higher rents, increased ways of living, and they really can't afford it. I meet so many people are on fixed incomes, they're senior citizens, they're on fixed incomes, they can't afford an apartment, they can't afford a house, they can't afford anything other than their vehicle that they have. So they take their vehicle, they live in it, and they try to figure out things from that point. A lot of times when you're from that, you're not behind the 8-ball. If you had rents that were high rents, that would put you behind the 8-ball. What they do is they live in their vehicles. That's all they can live in. And some of them are really sad. They don't even have a vehicle. So then they're on the street. So the next thing that they have to think about, okay, how can I change that situation? Now, some people like living in mobile vehicles because it gives them the ability to travel from one place to another. There are a great amount of people, 1.5 million people living in the mobile vehicles and traveling around. Now, some initially are forced into it, and then they get a sideline business, whether that be remote or a job on the sideline, and then they can add to their living condition. Now, the problem with rents and so on and mortgage payments is that you never get it back. I don't care who you are, you never get it back. If you listen to Grant Cardone, which is a guru on real estate, he will tell you it's not profitable nowadays to buy your own home. You buy your home, you stick your money into it, and it literally locks you down into a prison. And the payoff isn't really that great as it was back in the 80s. So things have really changed. So should you own a sticks and bricks? Should you live in an apartment? That's entirely up to you, and it's entirely on what type of life or type of lifestyle you want to live. Now, I choose to live in a vehicle. That's kind of crazy because I know a lot of people, when I talk to them about what I do, the first thing in their mind, whether they tell me or not, the first thing in their mind is they assume that I am forced into homeless. Hey, do you need help? Hey, what happened to you? And it's furthest thing from the truth. I make the same amount of income I made when I had my house. So nothing's have really changed. The only thing changed is I'm more profitable. So I'm having more money than really what I need. And that gives me a great sense of security. I purchase a car every 2 years. I've decided when I became a nomad, I decided not to live in a trailer. I didn't want the trailer to have to carry around and find somewhere to park it. I didn't want to have to pay for parking all the time, overnight parking. I wanted to have the ability to have it no overhead, minimal amount of overhead, only the gas and the maintenance I put in the vehicle. But as far as spending a night somewhere, I didn't want to have a situation where I had to pay. I really didn't. Not that I can't, it's just I don't want to be in a situation where some other people dictate that to me. I can dictate it to myself. So the type of life I've decided to live by traveling and doing rideshare, it enables me to take my vehicle, make it into a bedroom at night so it's comfortable enough for me to sleep, and then transform it into where I can take passengers. So I have the room to add luggage if they go to the airport, and I have the room for the people to take them as far as riders go. That was more important to me because that's really how I chose to live. Now, why do I like rideshare? Why don't I choose other things? And I do. I have a remote job that I do on the side dealing with digital marketing and website design. But rideshare gets me to meet people, gets me to find out how they live, find out their situation in life. And when the pandemic was going on, I was finding out exactly their situation and how it affected them. Now I'm looking at how high rents are affecting people, and I'm really intrigued by meeting people and finding out there's different situations. Number one is I find out exactly how people really feel. It's not hypothetical. It's really talking to the people and find out where their pain points are. And the saddest thing that I see in our country, the saddest thing is I see that we don't even take care of our people. We have a record number of homeless people out on the road. A lot of people who are homeless have mental illness. A lot of them do. Either that was drug-induced or was something that happened within their lives. There are people that are forced into it, and they're forced and they have no choice. Now, whether they're forced on the street or they're forced in their vehicles is another thing. So you can take two people who are living in their vehicles, one's homeless and the other one happens to be a nomad who made the choice, conscious choice to do what they did. I've had many people, because of my age, I'm 65, a lot of people say, oh, you can't do that forever, you're getting old, you're getting feeble, and that's true, we do, but guess what? What's the difference between me going into a house, going into a bedroom, or going into my car and setting up a situation where it's comfortable for me? I'd much rather be. Everybody I have known, from my father, my mother, and everybody I have known have had a sticks and bricks. By the end of their life, they were just waiting to die. They sat in their sticks and bricks. They didn't go anywhere. They didn't experience anything. They were just locked into their sticks and bricks. So I find so much that we have prisons of our own making. I don't care if it's a mansion. I don't care if it's a bedroom, one-bedroom apartment, or a smaller dwelling. Regardless of what it is, we all use it as a prison. We don't realize it. We don't call it a prison. But if you have something you have to always go back to, you cannot just keep on going. You're locked into a certain area. And I'll give you an example. From Michigan, I've met many people in Michigan. As they get older, they're locked into that dwelling. And all they do is sit and watch TV. They sit and do hardly nothing, just waiting for that end day. I don't want to wait for the end day. My end day, I'd much rather roll up in my vehicle into a mountain and then go to my creator at that point, than to waste my life, even as I get older, waste my life where I'm locked into a sticks and bricks or apartment or subsidized housing or whatever it is. I choose to live this way because it gives me the freedom to meet people, gives me the freedom to see God's creation in this earth. That's very important to me. I've visited some places I would have never ever been. I have met people that I have influenced their life, and they have influenced mine, which I would have never met if it wasn't what I did. Now, at first, when I thought about doing, I thought, am I crazy? I mean, for me to do this, is this really what I want to do? And it didn't really realize how bad I wanted it until I started doing it. When I started experiencing some of the things I experienced by meeting some of the people throughout my travels, or looking at the sites throughout my travels, visiting different cities, I'm really intrigued by the way people live. So a lot of times when I go around and visiting cities, I'm looking at how people live, whether that's their dwelling they're living in, or talking to them when I'm giving them a ride to find out a little bit more about their life. Now, obviously, some people, when I take rides, there's not a lot of conversation, because probably 99% of the people don't want to have a conversation. They're looking at their lives and what they got to do. They get in the vehicle, very minimal amount of conversation. And then they go on their life and they do whatever they want to do when I drop them off, either their job or whatever they do. That's fine, but I get to find out a little bit more about humanity. about the way we live, the way we think, and that's so intriguing to me. So really, am I homeless? I mean, if you looked at me, you'd think, oh my God, he's homeless. But I have more money than I need. So if I have more money I need, guess how many people I can help? You know, one of the travesties of life, and I said this to somebody, the travesties of life is that you can go to anybody's cupboard, and in their cupboard you'll see canned goods that they bought and purchased, but they never eat. I mean, the canned goods, us as humans that store in our cupboards, we could feed the homeless with it, but we choose to hoard it instead. We put it in our cupboards, we forget about it, we never eat it, we never use it, and then all of a sudden maybe a church has a potluck where they're taking canned goods, and then we feel good by handing a few canned goods to them. But 9 times out of 10, we only hand what we can really give up. The rest we keep. So I've looked at cupboards, and one of the things I've done when I have friends and family is I'll look in their cupboards, and the first thing I see is abundance amount of canned goods. Makes you think, really. Makes you think how many people we could really touch by feeding them. And then there's another flip side of it. Is a lot of us, we look at homeless and we look at them as garbage. We look at them, we stereotype them, or they're bums, or they must be on drugs, or they didn't do the right thing in life. Well, none of us really did everything right in life. All of us have made mistakes. Now, the type of mistake we make is based on our lives. But people make mistakes. People are in situations in life, and we got to quit judging them. We got to quit looking at them and passing judgment. We got to start having a little bit more compassion, because that's the only time it's going to help. This isn't going to change unless we as a people come together and change it. We're always looking for the government to take care of things. It's almost like our gas prices right now. We're looking for the government to take care of it. It's not the government that takes care of things. Obviously, they do a really poor job. And one example would that be, take any facility the government's taken over on, Social Security or anything, and they've done a mess of a job by it. It's really us people to join together in order to touch these people's lives and change things. If we don't do that, who is gonna? I mean, it's funny, there was a Myers, which is like a Walmart. It was out in Grand Rapids, and next to it, on the entrance of it, there's a bunch of woods. Well, over time, especially through the pandemic, I seen a bunch of homeless people living in the woods. And then they'd come out, and obviously they'd have their sign where they'd hold up on the street corner, and they'd try to make as much money as they can for food or whatever. But they dwelled within that wooded area. Well, eventually, the regular people, the citizens of the town, got tired of it, and they went in there, cut off all the trees, mowed down all the grass, and then guess what? They pushed the homeless people aside. They didn't decide to help them. They didn't try to help them. They didn't try to get them in a better situation. They just wanted to move them away. And that's really what we do as humans. We move people out of our society. We think we are so arrogant. We think we are so good that we deserve it, but nobody else does. We have so many people that live in our country that in abundance, and yet we have so many people who are suffering in want, in a need. They just haven't gotten there. When are we going to come together as a society and make changes? A lot of us don't. A lot of us will never do that. We'll just look at them and it's disgust, or eventually it becomes so vocational where you look at them and you don't even notice them. And that's really happening. That's a tragedy of our country, of humanity. And it's our job to make a difference. It's our job to change that. Now, I'm not saying to go out there and hand money to everybody you see with a cardboard box, because I don't think that's the solution. That's enabling them. But I think it's our job to teach them how to fish. I think it's our job to give them a leg up. I think it's our job is to touch their lives so maybe they can change it. Just think about that for a minute. Just think about it. Just think about what we do. Every time you see a homeless, just think about it. Just think about what we can do to make things better in our country that's supposed to be rich, plentiful. Everybody wants to come here because they know coming here, right, the opportunities are here. But yet, in this land, this great land that we call the United States, we still have a problem with people in need. I don't know. Maybe you and I, and we can group together, maybe we can make a difference. Comment below on what we could do, or what you think you can do, or what country could do as a whole to change that, to touch these people's lives and get them out of that type of lifestyle. If you like my video, go ahead and like it. I appreciate it. Give it a hard like. And if you are interested in getting my videos when as soon as they come out, is getting noticed on it, please subscribe to the channel. Subscribing also supports it. So if you can subscribe to the channel, I'd really appreciate it. I know your time's valuable in your life, and I appreciate you stopping by today. I appreciate you listening to this sensitive subject. But to me, I take that dear heart, and that is my mission in life, is see how many people I can touch, how many people I can help. And that's really what life's all about. Not just about me. It's not what it's in it for me, although majority of the people in this country think that. Think about what I said, and thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.